Before I go live, can we just do another audio check, see if the echo has been resolved? I hear no audio.
You hear me, Nate?
Yes, I heard you, Melissa. There is a slight echo, though.
All mics are off, Nate, except mine right now. Nate, can you hear me?
Yes, I think that sounded better. One more time.
Testing, testing.
Yeah, that sounds 100% better.
Okay.
Confirm start the meeting now. Are we ready?
Yep, we're ready. Oh, I think he's going to start it.
Recording in progress.
Madam Vice Chair, you may call the meeting to order.
Good evening. My name is Sid Crampton. I'm the Vice Chair of the Parks and Recreation Committee Commission for Monterey. And I would like to call the meeting to order. And Melissa, if you would call for a roll call, please.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for waiting. Chair Schmidt, absent. Vice Chair Crampton, thank you. Commissioner Buaya, thank you. Commissioner McEwen, absent. Commissioner Ono,
Present.
thank you. Commissioner Sanders, absent. And Commissioner Spangler,
Here.
Thank you so much.
If I could ask Nate to read the public comment procedures, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. Information on participating in this meeting and providing public comment, including remotely by Zoom or telephone, is available on this meeting's agenda, which is online at isearchmonterey.org. Remote commenters will be muted until it is their turn to speak, and a timer will be shown on the screen. If you are connected on Zoom, the timer is accurate with no delay. In the chamber, we ask that attendees please keep your phones and devices muted to prevent audio interference with tonight's meeting. Thank you for your participation in your city government.
We're now going to have presentations on the status of the Parks and Recreation Department operations for February 2024 through March 2024. This is not a project under CEQA Article 20, Section 15378, and under General Rule Article 5, Section 15061. Karen Larson, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice Chair. Good evening, Commissioners. Thank you very much for your patience for our handling of some technical difficulties. So without further ado, we will start our presentation about the Parks and Recreation Department activities from February and March of 2024. First, I'd like to start off with Laguna Grande Park, JPA. We did have a meeting in February as well as March. In case I had not updated you earlier, we did receive a $100,000 CDBG grant to update this park and a $10,000 Blue Zones grant. The Blue Zones grant will entail a very cool, a multifaceted bottle filling station, as well as a dog bowl drinking area. And it will also include 2 new bike racks. For the CDBG grant, we'll have a 4-foot walkway around the volleyball court, 4 new benches around the volleyball court, new tabletops at picnic area number 1, 3 new tables at the second picnic area, 4 new garbage cans, 2 new barbecue pits, 2 informational kiosks, and he said 2 bike racks, but that's for Laguna Grande, correct? I mean, for Blue Zones. And the drinking fountain we discussed earlier. We did receive Coastal Commission permit for construction, so we may proceed with construction. And now Louis is diligently working with a contractor and trying very hard to get on the schedule sooner than later. The other good news I just received today is the NCIP lighting project is beginning on April 16th. It will take place for 3 days. We'll have updated lighting, street lighting around the parking lot. There'll be 4 new street lights there. And then the 2 other lights, one is by the restroom area and one is closer to the path. Those will also be updated so that all of them have the same lighting fixture at the top, as well as the same light bulbs. So they're all giving off the same type of light for that area. And we have worked closely with the Monterey Regional Park District to start programming in Laguna Grande Park, including programs like beginning birding, bird walks, and how to use binoculars. We're also working on a pet safety program, but the dates have not been set just yet. Old Capitol Site Master Plan, we've gone through phase 1, and we did conduct the survey and some outreach. We had over 220 responses to the survey, and we have a meeting planned for Tuesday, April 23rd at 6 o'clock at Casanova Knoll to go over those results and to share them with the public and get additional feedback. Then we'll be moving on to phase 3 and phase 4. And next, I'd like to hand it off to Louis.
Okay, so we did our usual plants planted up 191. Did a lot of gopher catching and a few seals on the beach. We have a lot of transient camp removal going on, especially Ellisdale Print and Monterey Park, kind of ongoing over there on the beach. Coordinated 4 beach cleanups with Blue Zone and Save Our Shores and Equinix, and we did 72 athletic fields. Then we had our cutting day. Our 67th cutting day was probably, with the weather and everything, was probably the best one that I've seen in 30 years. It was good. People were all really happy with the plant material they got. It was just a good crowd. We had good volunteers from Kiwanis and Key Club. Probably about 350 people there, and most of them, everybody was very happy. We had a lot of good informational booths for horticulture information. And thanks to Blue Moon Nursery, Drought Resistant, Hana Gardens, Delray Oaks Gardens, and Aronic Creek for all the donations they made in plant material. So we had the old Capitol Site kickoff meeting. We had some debris cleanup after the last storm, big water leak repair at Veterans Park, and we cleaned out the fountain. We do that every couple of years over there at San Carlos Beach. And our forestry operations, we've been ongoing with starting our fuel reduction, starting to get heavy in fuel reduction. We've been getting CAL FIRE more frequently now. So we've been hitting all the areas in Skyline Forest and Quarry Park. We started work on the CAL FIRE grant that we have. So we're getting that going. We did a lot of tree inspections, a lot of pruning, and we did a lot of tree planting down in Old Town, donated by Sustainable Monterey.
Hello, everyone. So an update on the Recreation Division activities for February and March. First of all, we held our Bunny Hop Photo Op plus Extra Fun event. This was a 4th annual event. Started COVID-19 as a substitute for the egg hunt, and we're continuing that because it's actually extremely popular and just has turned into a very, it fills every year. We had a wait list, and it's an opportunity. There's lots of egg hunts everywhere. There's also family egg hunts. And so this is an event that actually draws people in, and they stay for more than 3 seconds to grab eggs. And it's actually a multi-generational event because we have children, parents, and grandparents, and everyone gets to get a photo with the bunny, and our bunny is a legit bunny. It's very affordable, low stress program for the community. We had My Museum there this year. We did have rain, and so we held it at the El Estero Park Center. Nate Coda and Chris Russo helped coordinate that effort of moving it indoors. And so we just had a really, really good event, and we've are planning for the next one, which will be Saturday, April 12th. Community outreach and events. We have gone to 9, we've done 9 summer recruitment outreach visits at local high schools throughout the peninsula. We have about 8 more different outreach events scheduled for April and May. We went to Monterey High School Spark Mock Interviews, which is their Sports Athletic Recreation Careers Academy. We were at Parks Cutting Day. We assisted with city budget and rental assistance meetings, and we were also election polling sites for March. So recreation summer camps, we are offering more summer camps than pre-COVID-19. Our traditional camps are returning, and so we are planning for those. They take a lot of effort that starts in January or even earlier. We will have Whispering Pines Day Camp. The playground program will be at 3 locations, Via Prizo, Casanova, and Hilltop. We also have Tiny Tot Summer Camp, Lego camps, sports camps, and then of course the Camp Kinsabi program, which takes a lot of effort out at Toro Park. So during the summer, we probably extend to 420 program hours a week at 11 different locations plus 3 community centers. Staff recruitment and capacity is also an ongoing challenge. We are looking for a wide range of abilities and experience, and we are also hiring when everyone else is hiring. So it's a challenge to find really good qualified staff. We also know that we need to provide campership opportunities to support families because this is summer childcare for a lot of people. We've worked on expanding our marketing for summer 24. You might have seen some advertising either in print or on TV. We've also expanded to some Spanish marketing. So we're on Telemundo, and we're really trying to do our best to translate as many of our documents and things as we can into Spanish as well. One thing we're working on at the moment is to review our pay rates for our PTS staff. To remain competitive. And of course, our goal is to create inclusive and welcoming environments for everyone, both the kids and the staff, and hopefully the parents feel comfortable leaving their kids with us, especially since some of them are with us Monday through Friday. So a lot happening. So field sports continues to grow. We've flipped through, we're having a slight delay. So I'll go ahead and get started on field sports. Field sports right now, we just launched our spring track and field program. It's at MPC. Last year, it was a 2-day program. This year, we had to expand to a 4-day program. We've doubled our enrollment because we had such a hard, long wait list last year. So now we've doubled our enrollment to 150 from 75, and we still have a wait list of 17. We just can't have any more kids out there every day. What's next? There's planning for summer camps, flag football, basketball, challenger soccer, beach volleyball, track and field, and then we're also adding youth baseball clinics on Saturdays at Jack's, I believe. Or maybe it's Lissido. I'm sorry, it's Lissido. And then our adult field sports program, we've launched our spring and men's co-rec softball league. We have, again, more teams than we did last spring, about 320, 360 players every weekend on Saturdays and Sundays. And then next, we're already planning for our summer men's and co-rec softball league. And we're adding adult ultimate frisbee league and a women's softball league for the summer at Solicito. So El Estero is going very well. We have strong enrollment in our youth programs, including dance, fencing, piano, and preschool. They are full. Gymnastics is also full. We were able to hire a new instructor, so we've expanded the program to Saturdays, and Saturdays are now full with a wait list. We're also partnering with Progress Not Perfection, Jessica Ainsbury, to offer summer camp. So that program it's not full, but it's very close to being full. And also our summer woodworking camp is completely full already. And El Estero is also the site of our Lego camps. And then Hilltop Park Center is also doing extremely well. It's full for piano and guitar lessons. Our adult ceramics classes continue to fill with wait lists. Our blood drives are full and our preschool is full. We had 38 enrolled in our spring break camp. Pilates for bone health is also doing extremely well. Ballet, yoga, Monday Morning Stories. Our theater for kids is extremely popular and is exceeding pre-COVID numbers, and actually the instructor is hoping to add some more classes this summer. So Tiny Tot Summer Camp for 3 to 5-year-olds is also held at Hilltop, and that is actually already full. And then we've already started the enrollment process for the next preschool year. Schultze is just launched our Play Monterey travel program. It is back. This was something that we had to put on hold due to COVID. You just couldn't put people on buses for trips to San Francisco. So we've launched that. Currently, we've got 3 trips to get us through June. That's a trip to Sausalito, a trip for shopping to San Jose and the Bay Area, and a trip to the DeYoung to see bouquet arts. So we're hoping that that's something we will expand to with Christmas shopping and a few other things in the fall. Current programs are also doing extremely well. The center is very busy. There's times when I'm there and I can't find parking because we've also got Alliance on Aging, tax prep, and a bunch of other things happening at the same time. We have our Meals on Wheels program. It's actually not drive-through any longer. Forgot to edit that out, but it's now Monday through Friday. And then we still have our senior walk-up produce distribution with the Monterey County Food Bank. And there's some special events we're finally able to bring back, which is the Spring Fling in May and the Senior Prom in June. So Casanova Oak Knoll is open based on our program and event schedule. So we are, it's one of the centers that we opened, but it is one large room, which limits our activities to one activity at a time. So that is why we chose to open and try to program Hilltop, El Estero, and Schultze as much as possible. They allow for multiple activities at the same time. And since we still are kind of spread out, that allows us to be in multiple places. So we've hosted MPD trainings. We're there tomorrow, Old Capitol site outreach, city budget outreach, renters' rights and obligations meetings. We had our pajama story time every second and fourth Saturday. It's a bookmobile stop every Tuesday. And then we are also hosting a few more events. We have an Old Capitol site meeting there on, I believe it's Tuesday, April 23rd, and an undergrounding presentation on the following Monday. Upcoming programs will be our Spring into Wellness event on May 18th with Blue Zones, and our Summer Fun Playground program is there as well, and enrollment is already open for that program. So what's next? We are planning for spring and summer programs and camps. We have a STEAM in the Park event at Montecito Park on, I believe it's May 11th. A story walk is scheduled for this Saturday around El Estero Park. Hopefully the weather will hold out. Otherwise, we will have to cancel that, I believe. Spring into Wellness, again, at the Casanova Center. We're recruiting for part-time staff. We're looking to expand programs. I've already talked about a few things we've expanded to. And then we're still continuing to work with our software to allow for people to do the things they need to do at any time of the day, 24/7. And what's really nice is I'm not getting any phone calls or emails from people saying, I don't understand how to register. So that's very helpful. Summer marketing. And then we are hopefully, at least the department is almost done with the budget prep. It will go to City Council for a budget study session on April 24th. And then they will have present the budget in May, and then the hope is to approve the budget on June 6th at the City Council meeting. So, and that is it for now.
Give you a little update from the Sports Center. We are currently up to almost 7,600 members. That's a significant growth in just the last 6 months. We've added almost 2,500 new memberships. So the trend is very positive and headed the right direction. Of that 7,588 memberships, almost 4,500 are families. So it's a significant growth in terms of multi-generational, and it's encouraging to see the use of the facility. Not quite up to 2019 levels, but getting very close. We have approximately 1,600 people a day come in. If you come into the facility, it's busy from the time we open early in the morning till closing, and then in the afternoons with all of the camps and the swim lessons and the various programs that are going on, the group exercise classes. It's just a very busy facility. We were at the Carmel High School Community Service Fair. You can see we've updated our table and our banner for the Sports Center, and we were right next door to the Recreation Division, so we were able to share some resources and talk to the good kids over there about the opportunities to participate in our programs at the Sports Center. Next slide, please. So we're in the process of finishing up our sports programs and camps. So we had a couple of weeks for our spring break sports camps, which were full. We're finishing this week with the Pacific Grove spring break camp. One of the things that Ryan Nunez, our sports coordinator, has added this year was a women's basketball league that was based on some requests. We had a couple of students from Middlebury that approached him about wanting to create a women's basketball league. There was some concern that when they try to play with the men, they don't really get the opportunity to participate at the level that they would like. And so they were requesting for a women's league. And you can imagine, with the popularity of women's basketball right now, with Caitlin Clark and 12.8 million people watching the NCAA Women's National Championship, there's a lot of interest. So on his first day, they basically brought out a lot of the interested participants. They had 50 that showed up that wanted to play. He was able to divide them into 8 teams, and they're now doing league play on the weekends. And we anticipate that that program is going to grow significantly. There's a lot of demand for it. So we're really excited about that. Youth volleyball clinics have been fully enrolled. We've got a lot of interest in that. And what they've done with the youth volleyball clinics, we have a lot of programs locally that really kind of cater to the elite youth in volleyball, traveling programs, club programs. We saw that there was a need to really have developmental clinics and programs for some of the kids that don't necessarily get to participate in the travel programs. So that's what this program is about, and it's got a lot of interest and participation. Of course, our pickleball people are there, and they're loving the pickleball clinics, and we're doing lots of trying juggling the futsal, pickleball, volleyball, basketball, badminton, and all the other groups that want to have court time. So Ryan's doing a masterful job trying to make sure that everybody gets that opportunity. The other thing that Ryan has really developed is this homeschool program. So we have about 50 young students that are participating in homeschool education. And part of that requirement is that they do some type of physical activity. And it's really not fair to leave that on the part of the parents to have to try to provide. So we're that location where they like to come and they engage in different activities. And it's as much of a social interaction and opportunity as a chance for them to have some physical activity. Next slide, please. The big news is really in progress right now. And essentially what we are doing is transitioning in some ways from kind of the COVID days of moving the equipment. At one time, it had got moved into the gymnasium, and that was due to some of the spacing needs during the pandemic. And then it got moved back into the fitness rooms. But if you've been in the cardio room in the last year or so, it's always been kind of not organized at the level we would like. And it was difficult to navigate. And then there were some concerns and issues with the placement of some of the equipment in terms of the safety of the patrons and the guests. So we've really worked at trying to come up with some ideas and plans that would address that. And so we've been able to make some changes immediately. And then we have the large weight room expansion, a new weight room that's coming in here in about 4 weeks. So the transition was to move many of the treadmills out to the concourse area. And that was done because the treadmills were really close to the back walls, and they changed some of the requirements for the distance between the end of the treadmill and where the walls were. So for the safety of the guests, we wanted to have more space available for them. So that's why we made the transition out to the concourse area. And we've added televisions. We're adding what's called Cardio Fetch, which allows you to program into whichever television you like, so you can have the audio component. If you go into the cardio room now, and we'll get a chance when we do our tour to show you a lot more space. And this has been particularly welcome for many of our guests that are in wheelchairs or have disabilities. The older room was very difficult to navigate. And now the room is much more inclusive in terms of the design. So we're really excited about that change. We have 15,203 participants in January, February, in the group exercise program, having a pretty high number of participants in each class. Personal training is up, and that helps us in terms of our cost recovery with the revenue offset, but it's so important for the members to have that opportunity to learn how to use the equipment properly and safely. And it gives them an opportunity to have the kind of experience that they're looking for there. So we're really excited about the growth of the personal training program and its kind of rebound from the pandemic. And so the weight room remodel project, as you can see, is scheduled starting on April 23rd. We'll be moving out the older equipment. And then that following several days, we'll be installing all of the new equipment. So we do encourage you to come down and check it out once it's all done and kind of see some of the progress we've been able to make. Next slide. Youth and Strength and Conditioning Program. This was an idea that Lauria Tate, our fitness supervisor, wanted to try to pursue. We were trying to find opportunities for youth to actually get more instruction on how to train properly. Just having access to the fitness rooms, weight room, cardio room, was something that was a challenge because we didn't have the staffing necessary to really provide, like, for example, Justin, when you used to work there, the level of supervision that we would like. So we wanted to give them some, adequate training and some preparation so that they could safely be able to use equipment, be able to use the training, and kind of understand how that fits into their activity pattern. So this was something Lori started, where we're providing some exercise instruction. We've been able to do it because we have 3 really wonderful interns from the California State University, Monterey Bay, from the kinesiology program. So they're excited. They're all planning on going into education and working with young students and athletes. So this was a great opportunity for them to apply some of these principles, and gave us an opportunity to try it out with students. So it's been a very popular program. Next slide, please. Aquatics continues to, again, grow and rebound. You can see the number of swim lessons. They actually had over 460 students participate in just the last couple of months. Tony Graffinino, our aquatics coordinator, has been able to provide 2,760 lessons in that time. So it's a pretty significant number of lessons. That's group, private lessons. We've provided lessons for over 1,200 students in the last couple of months. We've done about 20 birthday parties. We're providing a aquatics component to our sports camp, so the kids get to do some rec swim and get to participate with our Wivet, which is our obstacle course in the pool, and they really enjoy having that aquatics component as part of the camp. And the other thing that Tony wanted me to really kind of highlight tonight was just how many groups that we're working with locally. These are just a few of them. We just completed 3 weeks with Special Olympics, providing opportunities for many students that have special needs to participate in both a social as well as an active participation program. We're providing multiple therapeutic programs, do everything from having a physical therapist come in and work with young children that have real special needs and real challenges in our therapeutic pool, as well as some of our larger therapeutic classes. Be amazed if you come by at 8 o'clock in the morning and you go look at our senior therapeutic classes, you'll see 50, 60 people participating in these programs. It's really impressive. And so we're getting a lot of activity at that end. We have a class for folks that are experiencing multiple sclerosis. So we call it the MS class. It's paid for by the MS Foundation, but really popular. We're doing a lot of work with Naval Postgraduate School, doing training. We've done some training for the Monterey Fire Department. They wanted to train some of the firefighters to be able to make rescues in the open water, but they wanted to acclimate them first in the pool so they could get comfortable being in an aquatic environment in full gear and turnout and safely learn how to adapt. And then they take them out to the open water and do that training. Where we just, this weekend, we're doing California Junior Guards, where they basically train and hire the guards that'll be working for the state. And then we have ongoing diving training programs with the aquarium and with Hopkins Marine Station. Next slide, please. What's next? So basically, we have our summer programs and camps coming up. Those are all nearing capacity at this point. We're going to be expanding our wellness clinics. We're entering a partnership, a relationship with Montage Health. And what they've offered to do is come in and provide some additional expertise, some professionals, provide some clinics, provide some public lectures that people can participate in. We're really excited about this. It's allowing us to do things that we don't have the staffing capacity to take on ourselves. So we're going to have more about that coming up. Karen and I are working on kind of coming up with a framework for what that looks like. We'll be scheduling out events over the next several months, but we're really excited about that partnership. The natatorium upgrades are coming. There's been some delays because of some of the delays on some of the equipment that we need for that natatorium upgrade. But we're looking at that as potentially starting as early as August, although that is subject to change, but that is the tentative timeline for trying to get the pool replastered, getting the tiling done, getting the deck recovered, and making some changes in the natatorium. We're also, along with Shannon's crew, participating in the farmers market, the health fairs, the community events, trying to get out more into the community and get a little bit more engagement. And then we are looking at a proposal right now to do a request for proposal for the sports cafe. We want to get it open. We don't really have the capacity to do it internally. So we're looking at partnering with someone that can come in and provide that service. And at the same time, it gives us an opportunity to really look at healthier options, look at new ideas in terms of what that cafe is going to look like. So we're in the process of developing that right now. Next slide.
And that concludes our presentation for this evening, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. We're now going to open it up for public comments. Nate, if you would process any of the callers, please.
Thank you. The process on receiving public comment has changed, and to align our process with the City Council, the steps are as follows. Speakers need to be identified prior to public comment opening, and we have allowed a maximum of 15 minutes for public comment on this item, and each speaker's allotted time is dependent on how many speakers we have. However, the maximum time a speaker may speak is 3 minutes. If you are in the chamber and would like to speak on this item, so this is for the presentation which we just had, please stand or raise your hand. Melissa, do we have any public comment on this presentation?
None in the chamber, Nate.
Thank you. Let me confirm if we have anyone online. Please use the raise hand feature or press *9. Madam Vice Chair, we have no public comment online as well.
Okay, thank you very much. So public comments are now closed. So we move to approval of the minutes. I'd like to call for the approval of the minutes from the Parks and Recreation Commission meeting of Wednesday, February 14th, 2024. Are there any questions or comments on the minutes? Very good. Would someone please make a motion to approve minutes?
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the February 14th meeting.
Second? Anyone?
I second that.
Okay. I'll approve. Aye?
Aye.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, so is there any further discussion of that? I guess not. So we are going to approve the minutes as stated. Thank you. At this time, if there's any person that would like to address the Parks and Recreation Commission concerning an item that is not on the agenda, do you remember the 3-minute limit? We would be happy to hear that. Nate, if you would process the callers. We'll do the in-person first, and then Nate, you will process the callers.
Thank you, Vice Chair. So if anyone in the council chamber would like to make a general public comment, please raise your hand or stand. Melissa, do we have anyone for general public comment?
We have one caller, Nate, or sorry, one person in the chambers, Nate.
So we have one person in the chamber. Let me look online. So we have no one online that would like to make a general public comment. So now we will have the one person in the chamber. Please approach the podium and make your general public comment.
Hi, thank you. Excuse me, I'm Jean Rash. Is it on? Okay, I'm Jean Rash from Monterey Vista Neighborhood. And I'm here tonight to thank you for your leadership. The Parks and Recreation Commission does a fabulous job, and the department does a fabulous job. And I'm hoping to ask for your leadership in reconsidering the synthetic turf that many cities, including Monterey, have done. Why? Because increasingly we're concerned about the health risks created by the chemicals in the synthetic turf, including perfluoroalkyl and polyfluoroalkyl substances, also known as PFAS chemicals. These chemicals are in the rubber, and they contain items such as bisphenol A, commonly known as BPA, and they can leach out. They leach out into the water. And as you know, we're so dependent on our groundwater increasingly as we have water challenges. Also, we're a marine sanctuary. So everything that is going through our system that is a toxin is also going out to the marine sanctuary. So what is happening in California? In October, Governor Newsom passed and signed into legislation that cities can ban synthetic turf on an individual basis. And Millbrae has banned it in other cities. And I'm wondering if we shouldn't be looking at being leaders in this area. It would be nice that our money is not utilized in ways that are detrimental to us. And also it would be unfortunate if we continue using synthetic turf and then we might be forced to go backwards on it, take it out. So I'm hoping that the commission and the department can look at this seriously, see whether we shouldn't be going back to natural lawns and or some other item that I'm unaware of. But this is accelerating. So even today, it broke out into the New York Times that for the first time, the federal government is requiring municipal water systems to remove 6 synthetic chemicals linked to cancer and other health problems that are present in the tap water of millions of Americans. The extraordinary move from the Environmental Protection Agency mandates that water providers reduce perfluoroalkyl and polyfluoroalkyl substances, known collectively as PFAS, to near zero levels. These are forever chemicals because they will never fully degrade and they can accumulate in the body and the environment. And the article in the New York Times talks about how just in the last year, there are like 12 studies that have came back talking about this problem. And I'm just concerned that it's going to accelerate and we want to have our money going toward the healthiest outcomes for our residents. So I've talked with Director Larson on this and I'm hoping for your leadership. Thank you. There's an article.
Thank you very much. Anyone else in the chambers that would like to make a comment? Seeing none, we will close public comments on that. Now we're going to go to the public appearance items, reports on action, review the priorities parks and recreation related nominated neighborhood and community improvement program, NCIP project requests for the fiscal year 2024 through 25. And once again, not a project under CEQA Article 20, Section 15378, and under General Rule Article 5, Section 15061. Shannon, if you would take it away.
Thank you. So before we get started with the slideshow, just a little bit of the background. Every year we bring potential NCIP projects to the Park and Recreation Commission in December. In January, February, the commission and staff usually submit projects before the deadline. And then we review projects before advocacy nights and before voting and prioritize them based on the priorities of the commission and maybe some feedback from staff. And then some commissioners are have the option to be selected if they choose to go to these advocacy nights to speak to any of the projects that we feel are a priority. So tonight we would actually rank the projects that have been determined as parks and recreation related. You can add items, you can remove items, you can choose to only rank half of them, whatever you decide to do. We'll go through each of the projects listed in your packet, and we have a slide for each of them as well that I'll explain a little bit more. There were 100 projects nominated or will be reviewed by NCIP, but not all of them are parks and recreation related. And they've also categorized some projects differently than they have in years past. So A bike rack might be considered install, repair, replace. You won't see that on here. The forestry, green belt maintenance, those things are now more categorized as environmental. So that would also not be here. Everything will again come back after voting night for us to review, and you'll see everything, because even though they may not be one of these 15 items listed here, it does have an impact on the, in particular, Louis and the Parks Division. There's a lot of things that Louis does and the Parks Division does in forestry that really support and are part of the NCIP projects. So it is a lot of work that Louis does take on when the project's submitted and approved by NCIP if it falls under his purview. So we will have a discussion. We'll allow for some public comment tonight. And we will take a minute to ask the Parks and Rec commissioners who are here to rank the projects. We'll tally them and we'll give everyone an update as to what is the top and what is maybe not so much of a priority for the Parks and Rec Commission. So we can go ahead and get started. Those are the neighborhoods as part of the NCIP. And we've got the projects broken down by neighborhood. So just a little background, the NCIP budget has about a little over 10 million in available funding. That's due to TOT, but there's also an unappropriated fund balance. So this year's NCIP budget is just over 10 million. The Parks and Rec Commission and the Parks and Recreation Department and the Parks Master Plan has many priorities and goals. I think the overarching goal and of the 2016 Parks and Recreation Master Plan establishes that the city has an abundance of public spaces, public parks, beaches, green belts. We are very lucky to be considered a very healthy community because people have a park or green space within about a 5 to 10 minute walk of no matter where they are in Monterey. And so we do have a lot of wonderful existing facilities, and the overall thing is that we need to maintain our existing facilities before considering adding new facilities. We need to focus on improving and maintaining those spaces, but versus bringing something new at this point. So again, there are a total 100 projects. There were 69 projects that were considered new and nominated in 24. There's 31 projects that were previously approved but closed. Tonight, there are 15 projects that are Parks and Recreation related. They're going through the first review process of projects. The second project review is April 25th and May 9th. Those are Thursdays. That will be the night to attend. That will be the night for people in the public to come and advocate and for their projects. And then voting on qualifying projects is scheduled for June 6th. I believe it's June 6th. Just a little bit of information about the Parks and Rec Department. Our budget resources are limited for major capital improvement projects. We have, again, 37 parks, over 745 acres of parks, beach, and open space. Our utilities budget is 1.2 million for every facility that we have. As any thing in the city's labor is the most expensive part of the budget because everything we do, no matter what, involves a staff person providing a service, whether it's maintaining all of these parks or offering a camp program or being at the sports center and having that building open about 100 hours a week. It takes staff. Our actual operating supplies portion is very minimal, and there is not a lot of wiggle room for anything beyond just taking care of day-to-day maintenance and operations. So of our nominated projects today, this is our first one. It was a take a toy, leave a toy box that's been suggested for Del Monte Beach. Staff, well, this is a very low cost project. It does have some concerns in terms of we don't have the capacity to monitor this. We don't have the capacity to make sure that it is used appropriately, doesn't become a trash receptacle, doesn't become a safety hazard because someone's idea of an appropriate toy is not maybe the same as everyone else. So that would be a staff concern for this. But again, that's a very low cost potential project. The other project that was nominated was to install some sort of monarch butterfly garden at the Spray Avenue tot lot. You know, Louis can comment a little bit more about this, but that's a very small space and probably not appropriate for much.
Yeah, you probably can't do much there, and yeah, it's really tight in there.
The next project is to install some sort of exercise equipment at Laguna Grande Park. I think the challenge here would be to find a suitable space. That park is very, very busy, and that volleyball court and the barbecue area are right there next to each other. And then there's bounce houses and there's a lot happening. So I think it would be a challenge to find suitable space to make that an appropriate location, because they're really, the Monterey portion of Laguna Grande Park is actually not very large. Jack's Park irrigation drainage system and turf installation. This is a project that needs to happen and doesn't need to be artificial turf. The project was nominated by Monterey High School and Save Our Sports, and the field just needs some love and attention, and that means addressing the irrigation and the drainage system and the infield and the outfield. Artificial turf does allow for more playable days. It doesn't, Solicito gets used 300 plus days a year. Jack's, on the other hand, will be one of the first parks to close. But in general, the irrigation and everything just needs to be addressed. There are options now for artificial turf that do not include rubber. That's actually very outdated, old material. There's cork, there's walnut, there's a lot of different options that can be used for artificial turf infill. Artificial turf would allow us to use it for a wider variety of sports, soccer, those type of activities, which we use Solicito for, would allow us to play more than just a baseball or softball game on this field without tearing up the outfield. So this is a project that I think we support, and the person who's nominated it is willing to make adjustments as needed. But again, it doesn't have to be artificial turf, and there are healthier alternatives. But in general, the field just needs to be done. The other item is the lighting at Frank Solicito ball field. It is very old, 30 years or so, I think. 50 years. Okay. Basically, we're at the point now where the lights, we can go in and we can replace bulbs, but the actual mechanical mechanisms of like the ballasts and those things are not replaceable. So we've got about 13 lights that are permanently out. And so that creates dark spots. It becomes a safety hazard. New technology is also more energy efficient, has less backwash, will focus the lighting on the field and less towards the outside of the field, and would allow us to be able to turn on and off those lights remotely, which currently they require us to pay a staff person to go there, turn them on, have a staff person go there and turn them off. So definitely a needed project. And this again was submitted by Save Our Sports, which is the baseball, softball, Monterey High School booster. The other item that you've seen before is to put a shade structure over the El Estero large group barbecue area. You can kind of see those are the longer picnic tables. That's our facility, the only facility that can accommodate 200 people, but it is right on the backside of the ballpark, and it does have a significant bird population there that makes it a little less desirable. So a shade structure would address many issues and make it more attractive to people actually wanting to have a picnic. It's the largest picnic facility in the whole city. And we have very few shade structures. I think we only have Whispering Pines and Oak Newton have shade structures. Of all of our 37 parks, it's just those two. This was a project nominated by the public to convert 2 tennis courts at the Monterey Tennis Center to pickleball courts. And we all know that pickleball is a trend and not a fad. So there is a need for pickleball courts. Just depends on how many, there's a whole other thing about pickleball. Monterey Tennis Center has also submitted, there's a project to address the lighting, resurface some of those courts, fencing, and update Pro Shop. Louis, do you have anything about the tennis center?
No, the lightings are in need of being replaced. They're in bad shape. The courts need a total refinishing. They just don't need a repainting or striping. They need to be kind of torn out and done from scratch. They're starting to crack up. So yeah, that'll be an expensive project.
Okay. Yes, and we also, to add, we don't know the costs of these projects at this point. That's something that the NCIP program coordinator and the staff will determine ahead of voting night, I believe, is what they will do. Next project is we have our accessible beach mats, and that is their current location. And the project would be to provide some signage directing people to access those, that beach mat. The other project is for the Via Paraiso Park pickleball and tennis court improvements. And I think what they're looking for here is to address not just, we have it painted and everything's, well, but to take it down and completely resurface it and address like the tree roots and things like that that are needing to be done. So it is a bigger project. What we did when we converted the tennis court to pickleball was kind of a surface layer project. This is kind of taking the courts back down to scratch and redoing. So there are 2 projects for Hilltop Park Center, both very similar, rehab, renovation, upgrades, improvements. This is our largest community center, and it really hasn't had a lot of updates since we've opened it in mid 80s. But beyond that, besides it still looking like a school, which is our long hallway, there has been very little done to upgrade and update it, but we also need a new roof. We have a termite problem. We have wood rot. We have old HVAC. We have single pane windows. We need new finishings, new paint, interior and exterior. So there are 2 projects for that. And, it's definitely something that's needed. Next, maybe something froze. I'm trying to think of what's next on the list. Oh, okay, Schultze. So this is a project that we've actually taken you by on our park tour, and this is to address the, I believe it's the far corner of Drake and Foam of the park, and it just is a very underutilized space. And the idea would be to let it be used as part of the center as an outdoor facility. Appropriate design would be something probably very similar to Friendly Plaza. There's plenty of playgrounds, plenty of other things in the new Monterey neighborhood, but this portion of the park, of the Schulte Park, could really be utilized by the seniors and by people who want a more serene environment. We get a lot of people there walking their dogs because there is lots of new apartment housing in the area. So it's very popular for that. It can be, this is one of the projects that was submitted. The other one that was submitted on behalf of Parks and Rec was the Ellisara Strait structure. This was the other one that was submitted for this go round. And it could also be phased. So phase 1 to reduce the cost could be just, let's come up with a design, and then phase 2 could be the actual renovation. This next one is Cypress Park Tennis Court resurfacing. I think this is the same as Via Paraiso. It needs a full resurfacing of that court. Hilltop probably does as well, but it's not a nominated project at this point. And then the last one is to install some signs along Veterans Memorial Park, educational signage. And this was a nominated project by someone from the neighborhood, I'm thinking. So these are all the 15 Parks and Recreation related projects that we have for you to consider this evening. On your rating sheet, there's actually rankings of 1 through 14 because we combined Hilltop, the 2 projects for Hilltop, into one, because it was kind of like, oh, do you rank one? You know, how does that work? So we combined them together, but it's, if you support Hilltop, it's both projects for Hilltop. So what we can do is we can have questions, public comment, and then bring it back for you guys to prioritize. And then if you decide to also advocate for any of those projects at the voting nights. So
I'd like to ask if the commissioners have any questions about any of these projects. Go ahead.
Okay. So looking at the pickleball court scenario, we've got 3 different sites. Is it not working? It is, it's the light's on. Sorry, can you hear me? Okay, so we've, yeah. I could scoot closer.
There you go.
Okay, we've got 3 different areas where we could address resurfacing or redoing the pickleball courts. What's the priority for you guys as far as staff's insight into this?
Let's see, I'm thinking first. Cypress is pretty bad. Beer price is not so bad. It's been resurfaced frequently. And the tennis center, you know, that's another question. I know it's bad, but it's also a different kind of setup there. So I would say Cypress is in definite need.
How utilized is Cypress? Is it utilized a lot?
I see people playing there. I
Mhm.
mean, I don't know if it's steady nonstop, but I do see people playing there.
Okay. And has the pickleball club, local club, spoken into this as far as what their desires are? I know they've been advocating for, you know, more pickleball for a long time. So have they been looking at one of these areas as a priority?
I'm not sure if I've heard them say anything about the tennis center.
no, they've, I think, a neighbor who lives in that area who is also a pickleball player is the one who submitted the Via Paraiso project.
Mhm.
I know that, but
We don't really know. They haven't spoken to us directly, but we are aware that they did submit, I believe someone from there submitted a project. No, from the pickleball club
Yeah. No, no.
for Ryan Ranch.
Oh, okay.
So there might be another alternative that they would support, but it's not considered a Parks and Rec project at this point because it would be a construction project. Is that correct?
Oh.
Yeah,
'Cause
a
in the past,
development
we
project.
Kind of would look at that. We've looked at Ryan Ranch before, right?
Mhm.
And that was under parks, but this year it's different.
Right now, there's an NCIP project for design for a project up there,
Okay.
and that's underway right now.
Is that in the same place right there by the disc golf course still?
Yeah, to the right of the entrance there, but it would at this point be considered, we've categorized it as development because that's bringing in a new facility, similar to kind of like how we brought on the Foam Street basketball courts that was completely handled as a development and a new thing. Yes, it became part of our inventory and our requirement to maintain it, but right at this point, it's more, and there were several other projects nominated of the 100 that involve acquisitions of private property, whether it's for a park space or a green space or affordable housing or something. That's all kind of, they're all considered development.
Okay.
For the Spray Avenue tot lot, I know this is about the garden. Did the resurfacing get approved?
That may start tomorrow.
Okay. Because,
Don't, I'm not making a promise, but it may start tomorrow.
okay, perfect. And then the beach mats, do they move to the other side of the building? Because I saw that big pile of sand and I'm like, I can't get a wheelchair through that.
I looked for them too, and I didn't see them.
Okay.
Yeah, you may have noticed there was a situation where someone tried to drive down that with their truck and then the truck got stuck.
Big truck.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
It's now relocated to the other side, so it's less likely for someone to take a drive down the rec trail and then make a left onto the beach mat.
that makes more sense.
I guess my question would be, are we looking to rate this as most utilized? We don't know any cost yet, so it's hard to determine, fiscally whether it's behooves us to choose one over the other. So I'm not quite sure what you're looking for as far as our ranking of this.
So we can give you an idea of like what is potentially the most expensive versus least expensive. Obviously, the toy box is probably the least. Hilltop needs so much work. It's probably our most expensive project. And if some of that's funding from NCIP and some of it's capital improvement, we're not really sure. But I think it's what do you guys feel the Parks and Rec Department or the commission considers like the biggest priority is in terms of like, we need to use this space, we need to fix this space, we need to, offer, that type of thing,
I have a question. The Solicitor Field is not a natural turf.
Yes, it's artificial turf.
Okay.
Yes.
And if you were to use natural turf, would you not have to do something to prevent gophers? I mean, the field at Via Paraiso, I know Jean didn't get a chance to, but I know she was concerned about injuries from artificial turf. But the injuries that would happen from the gophers are far more a concern of mine. So.
Yeah.
Good question. Yeah, everybody has an opinion on the artificial turf thing. I'm not so sold on the dangers of it. We've had good luck with Salisto. It's far more usable now than it ever was. I think it's great. I do think it's going to be hard to get that same thing over Jack, so it probably needs to be modified down to natural turf and stuff like that to really get that to fly. Um, and as far as Solicitor, I really think that as far as needs, I mean, the lighting there is really terrible. It's
And also when Solicitor was done, it was a phase project. It was the infield was done first, the outfield was done second. And I forgot to mention that the group that has submitted both of those projects is working on trying to bring some additional funding, reaching out to the foundations to see if they'd consider making another donation, which they did with Solicitor. In terms of safety at the moment, or jacks, it's not just gophers, it's just a very uneven surface. It has holes, it's got, you know, I think that's the bigger safety issue. Artificial turf becomes a safety issue when it starts to fail, like it's reached its end of its lifespan and you're worried about compaction because it becomes a much harder surface. And if you hit your head or fall, it's not like cement, but there's compaction testing that's done. And when it fails, then you need to replace that. So artificial turf isn't forever. Solicitor will have to be done at some point. And when it's done, the infill would probably be some sort of walnut or cork or something. But our regular turf needs to be done as well. Irrigation, it's never 100% forever exactly the way. So that's kind of where we're at.
And Louis' team has become quite adept at gopher abatement. We have an employee that I call the gopher whisperer. And so that isn't something that the Parks Division deals with quite a bit.
And I am, since we're on injuries, I have another question. Via Paraiso courts, are they concerned about injuries or are they concerned about someone having a advantage because it hits a crease in the court?
I want to say at one time they were concerned about injuries on the tennis side because there's more running on the tennis side. There were some people that were really playing some serious tennis there. And I think they were concerned about a couple areas where they were raised up just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you. So do we have any public comments on what we've talked about?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. If you are in the council chamber and would like to make a public comment on the NCIP presentation,
We do have
stand
one.
or raise your hand.
We have one.
We have one public comment, Nate.
You look online. We have no public comment online, so we'll go to the one in the council chambers. Please approach and make your public comment.
Good evening. I'm Lee Whitney from the Glenwood neighborhood and also an NCIP representative. I am not here this evening as the representative. I'm here as a citizen and as my neighborhood. But I will give you some information. We don't have money on our projects yet either. So they can't tell you how much the baseball field's going to cost or those 13 lights that are out. They can't tell you any of that because we don't even have it yet. We're still in our reading public meetings and stuff of to the public. We've done the first part of the alphabet through M, and then tomorrow night we're going to do the second part. Then we will go back again and do the first part from A to M, and again from N to all the way through to the end. We have 2 public readings like that per for each of the alphabets, so anybody can get up and their speech. We have like probably a good 4 meetings to do still before we have any numbers and stuff that we'll get from Reggie's office. I want to thank you guys for what you do. It's an outstanding rec program. We need to get all those kids grown and safe and come back into public community work in the city and appreciate what they're going through. Parks and Recs, you guys have done a fabulous job. Gold stars for Louis. And we've got quite a reputation for our parks in this town. When you guys prioritize these things, it really helps the members of the NCIP committee as far as decision making and maybe even seeing different and hearing different things about the projects that we may not have known or somebody's now bringing it forward or whatever. So I have no money to tell you how much everything's cost, and you have done an outstanding job, by the way, at the Sports Center. It's a totally, completely turnaround. Because I remember seeing all the projects come through in past years to get that fixed and stuff. Speaking of fixing things, I have to fix the stuff inside my condo. I'm responsible for the maintenance of it. And no, I don't regularly vacuum, but I do regular maintenance in my condo and on the property, the 12 acres that I manage, because I'm also the HOA president. I do all the projects plus run the board. My question might be for future thinking, why don't we have a maintenance program that we keep fixing things so we don't have the accidents or it's starting to deteriorate. One or two lights, I'm just using that as example, by the way. When one or two lights are going, we need to start looking at that stuff for why do we need to do a maintenance on them now or start looking to get new ones now. Instead of like, oh my God, we've got 13 lights out at the baseball field. What are we going to do? Oh, we'll go to NCIP. That's not always a guarantee to things could happen and get fixed and stuff. I suggest to every department in all cities, start looking at those maintenance programs because it's going to be cheaper fixing things that way, safer, taking care of things that are injurious to people, a la the courts, whether it's pickleball or tennis. And I'm finished because I'm done with my 3 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions from the commissioners? Nope. Okay, so I don't believe, Nate, that you have any online questions?
Correct. No online public comment.
All right, then we will close the public comments. We now want to do the ranking sheet, complete that, correct? Right. Do you want our name on it or you?
You don't have to have your name on it, and you could also choose to, if you want, remove projects, not rank them, but that would be something you would all need to decide before you start ranking. So if there's anything on here that you feel like we just need to not even rank, that you're welcome to do that, or you can rank 1 through 14.
This is not a collective ranking, however.
No, but it should be, the items on here need to be the same for all of you.
I see.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you guys decide, we're going to take off, something, we just don't think we need to rank it, everyone agrees not to, and then we'll go, and then we'll collect everything from you. Again, the item with the lowest score will be your highest ranked item.
Correct.
Yes.
So
Number one, top priority.
You actually
Yep.
want a consensus amongst us.
Usually that's what happens as to what, because last year, for instance, you guys chose to add a couple projects on that were not on the ranking sheet. Now, if you wanted to, we can rank 1 through 14, or you can choose to, if you just, after what we said, you don't want to rank it.
How important do you think it is to rank 1 through 14? Because I've only ranked 7, but that's just me.
The native plant garden wasn't on my list. I don't know about you. I don't know. That's one of the ones I think that could maybe.
Oh, that's the second one?
Yeah, the Spray Avenue.
Yeah, that one they said it was just way too small.
Yeah,
right?
it's tiny. It's
Yeah,
like,
and I think the leave a toy, take a toy is a problem that's going to create more problems.
Yeah, the only thing I would say about the native plants is, instead of it being a garden, would it be helpful to say as plants die there or are diminished, would it be helpful to have some supply to replace plants with monarch-friendly plants?
It's not big enough. Right?
Well, I mean, then you run into the question of, some people ask, is it useful to draw monarchs to that area there because it's close to the ocean? They don't like to be right there. So different people have different ideas on this. There are some people that think that, yeah, put monarch gardens in your house and stuff. And other people are resistant to that, saying that they should be in a natural spot, in a specific spot. So
Do we have any kind of consensus about pickleball courts and the things that we want to do? I think we might be putting the cart before the horse. Since we're thinking, we're going to be doing a study, I gather, or asking for money from NCIP for a study on Ryan Ranch. So
There was already a project for the design, and that's in process right
okay,
now.
so
The next project was for construction,
okay,
and that's in development.
okay.
That's in the development section of the new NCIP project.
So
So
does
there-
that
It has not been voted to be funded.
got it?
Yeah.
So should that not be addressed before adding these other pickleball assets to the equation?
It is challenging. I mean, the Via Pariso, it's already existing pickleball. I think at the tennis center, they do have pickleball courts already, but I think they're blended lines, or they're blended lines. No, at the tennis center.
I'm not sure.
They do have pickleball
I've
at
seen
the
them,
tennis
yeah.
center. Yeah, I don't know if they're trying. I think it's blended lines or something similar to that, where the courts can be used for both pickleball and tennis. I think their plan is to solely dedicate 2 courts to pickleball.
Which would create four pickleball courts.
Yes.
Correct. Okay.
So I think you might be confused. I don't think we're looking for a consensus up there. I think you can all vote separately.
This was my question.
Yeah, I don't think you're looking for a consensus. I think you all vote separately. We just add it up.
Yeah, like
I'm
I
happy
saw
with
it going
that.
off the rails there.
Sorry,
I didn't want
Happy
to jump
with
in.
that.
But
Okay.
So
we need to agree to take stuff out.
but here, I can make it real simple for you. Just don't vote for the project.
Right.
Vote it. Right. Just don't vote for it. You don't have to take it out.
Right.
You all have it on your sheet. Just don't vote for it. And that'll be fine.
Okay.
Is it too late to ask questions then?
no, go ahead.
Never too late.
What exactly are the signs that are proposed in Veterans Park?
I think they're environmental signage.
Like interpretive, kind of like this is like nature.
I believe so.
stuff?
Nature
I haven't seen
signs.
that. I haven't seen what the project entails.
It's actually there's a little description in your attachment. Let me see what it says.
It says 6 trailside signs.
Not terribly informative.
So anyway, so the original project title was Veterans Memorial Park Trail Side Signs Educating Residents and Visitors About Monterey Pine Forest. So they're
okay.
educational, yeah.
All right. Well, I'm done with mine. I can pass it to the aisle. Thank you.
So as you complete it, we'll enter it in a spreadsheet and total it. We're not going to use our calculators this time. And then we can give you an update on what is number 1 versus 14.
Also, really quick, I have this little clarification on the playground equipment. Is that exercise equipment or playground equipment? Exercise. So just cross out playground, right? Exercise. Might be getting that wrong. DMG 03.
Oh, yeah, that's an error.
Okay.
It is exercise equipment. I'm sorry.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Is this kind of like park horse type of exercise equipment? Like we have around Ulster?
I think it's even more expensive than that.
Okay.
Where's it gonna go?
But I thought it was like indoor, outdoor.
Really?
Really?
Huh.
But he'll know how to use it.
Okay.
Okay, so
I think everyone should.
I think you guys should, at this point, I'm really sorry, but probably vote for everything and rank it, because what's gonna happen is because someone left a 0 score for one project, that's gonna make it skewed towards
Got
a
it.
less.
Got it. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
so.
So we can put 14 on 4 of them.
You could, if you wanted to, I guess, yeah.
I think that's probably the best way. That was
Sid, if
mine.
you want, sorry about that. Thank you.
That one's mine.
Oh, no. No,
You're good.
yeah. I know what I'm going to do.
One number for each one. It can't be the same. Can't be, right? We're on the 14.
I was like,
Projects
they're
for
gonna
10 million and then 90 projects for $1 million.
No, I mean, I think it would just.
Each one needs its own number. That's the-
Or like, I was trying to say, if you guys wanted to not
Well,
rank
that's, yeah, just,
anything, you would all need to agree to remove something.
yeah, well, that's not, that
So,
takes
yeah.
too long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Details about what kind of exercise equipment, is it more like a park course, like at Elster, or is it different types of more?
That's somebody from the neighborhood that, and I haven't seen what they're, I know they would like to meet out there and look for a location, but
Yeah, this will change when you get more detail.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I believe it's more geared towards, from what I've heard, it's seniors or more, yeah, versus parkour, which is a lot more body weight and heavy work. It's supposed to be geared towards like all abilities, and so an elliptical or seated or ADA compliant. Yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
All right. Are you done?
I'm done.
All right. Under 12. 12. Oh, there's, that's right, so that's the 12. All right. You can always opt for 14. All right. You want us to leave you alone while you're entering those, or can we continue on to the next item?
The next item could be if you guys decide that someone would like to attend the advocacy meeting.
I can go on the 26th, I think it is.
There's a 25th or 27th.
25th or 27th. I think I can handle the 25th.
There's Thursdays? Yeah, April 25th is a Thursday and May 9th.
Yeah, I'll be leaving on vacation, but the Thursday in April, that's the 27th, 25th. I can do that one. And that's going to be where?
No, I think voting, I mean, advocacy is usually here. isn't it?
All right. I could call on Karen for comments while you're doing that, Shannon. Or would that interfere with what you're doing?
You have to, I think we have to agree that
Okay.
these are your,
Okay,
so if there is an action, this is an action item.
got it. Okay,
Sorry.
no problem.
It will be faster than it's been in the past. This is not a manual process versus Louis and I sitting here with our calculators.
I know.
It was going in my mind. It was going in my
It
mind.
was, huh?
Yes.
He said that he's gonna play a video.
So we've got it. Number one project with, meaning the lowest scoring item, is Hilltop. Number two is the lights at Solicito. Number three is the Jack's turf and drainage. There's a tie for 4. That's the disabled access signs at Del Monte Beach and the Schulte Park design renovation improvements. Number 5 is the shade structure at El Estero Park. Number 6 is the educational signs along Veterans Memorial Park. Number 7 is the Via Paraiso courts. Number 8 is Cypress Court. Number 9 is the exercise equipment at Laguna Grande Park. Number 10 is the tennis center improvements. 11 is the pickleball courts at the tennis center. And then 12 and 13, because like I said, there was a tie for 4th, means that 12 is the Spray Avenue native plants for monarchs, and the lowest ranked project is the beach toy box.
Does that sound about right to you guys? Do you feel
You
comfortable?
support that
Because
recommendation?
if there's more, you could have more discussion if you felt like you wanted to.
Do we want any more discussion on the results? Are we willing to submit that?
I think
Yes,
that
if
sounds
you-
pretty good.
Okay.
Would need to make a motion that that is the order.
Would someone please make that motion?
Yes, and then who will be attending if the advocacy nights?
Well, first, I move that we approve the ranking for the NCIP park-related projects.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you so much. So Karen, do you have any comments?
Do you have anything else you need to talk about? No, unless, who do we know who's going to the,
I'm going to go to the 25th.
okay.
Or do one person?
No,
just need
no,
to-
2 is fine. We just can't end up with a quorum.
Oh,
Got
okay.
it.
Yep. Okay, so Kathy and Sid will be on the 25th?
Right.
Okay.
Here. At what
Yes.
time?
6 or 6:30? Lee, do you know when you guys typically meet? At what times is your? 6.
But then we have to take a half hour to get the sound system going.
Huh, sounds familiar.
15 minutes, 15 minutes.
We've had those.
Okay, Karen?
I'll make it quick because I know it's been a long meeting already this evening. I just want to make sure I thank the entire team and their staff members for all of their work on the budget. It was a heavy lift, and we still have a little bit more to do, but they've done the hardest part so far. So I really want to appreciate you and all of your work on that. Kudos, Shannon, to you and your team on the photo op for the bunny hop, making a big plan to change that from an outdoor venue to an indoor venue. That was really great planning on your team's part, and great horticulture fair. Louis, your team did an excellent job. Everyone had smiles on their faces and everyone was doing such a great job. And Bill, thank you so much for what's going on at the Sports Center right now, embarking on some new endeavors with Montage, as well as reconfiguring the cardio room and getting ready for the weight room transformation. I know you're incorporating a lot of deep cleaning projects with that too, so I really appreciate that. And thank you very much also to the Parks and Rec Commission for all of your support. You guys are with us in between meetings as well, sending us your support and your positive vibes, and we appreciate that.
Shannon?
Sorry, I'm all over the place right at the moment. No, I mean, we're just chugging along. Everyone is doing something, sitting on interview panels for the different camps, going through that whole process of hiring and certifying and lifeguards and all the things we need to pull together. So have pretty strong enrollment numbers already. Hilltop and Via Paraiso are right around where they were for the entire summer last year in terms of the playground program. Casanova is unfortunately our lower enrollment at the moment. A lot of changes in that neighborhood, of course, and we're just, very busy, but working really well together as a team. And yeah, just a lot going on. So thank you. We're here to answer any questions. There's also, just a heads up, there are a few commissioners whose terms are expiring. So we'll be hearing more information about that because, of course, we'd love for you guys to consider reapplying. So I can give you an update about that after the meeting's adjourned.
Thank you so much. Bill, any
Thank you.
comments?
Thanks for being here tonight, giving up your evening and participating in the NIP project voting. Love to see you down at the Sports Center. Come down and take a look at some of the changes and some of the things we're working on.
Louis?
I'm going to say thanks for being here and visit a park.
Oh. All right, commissioners, any last comments that you have? Yes?
Yeah, I just want to say that, I've been driving around this week looking at the beautiful location that we live and just filled with so much gratitude that we get to experience this place, and you guys have so much to do with making this place a great place to live. So I just want to say thanks for your leadership. And I got a chance to talk to some teenagers this week about my experience in doing this and telling them how much I admired and appreciated the leadership in this team. So it was fun and they were really listening. So anyway, thanks for all that you do. Really appreciate you guys.
Thanks again, guys. Bill, this sounds like a lot of awesome stuff going on at the Sports Center, and that youth strength and conditioning program sounds really amazing. And thanks for recreation again. Another year, another successful park rental for my son's birthday, and Cuttings Day was really, really fun. I told everybody in my office, we all, I think 3 or 4 of us came down, and it was a really good time.
Kathy?
I think that it's amazing what this group of people pull off. The spaces, and it's amazing the amount of responsibility that you have. I had no idea before I came on to this commission exactly how large all of this was. So it's very, very impressive. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm always stunned by how much you all get done. And you're still not 100% staff of what you had prior to the pandemic. And so it really, I look forward to the day when you have programs that aren't filling up because you have that much available. And I don't know if that'll ever happen, but that'd be wonderful. I have a comment on, I'd like to know a little bit more about what does it look like as far as the campership opportunities to support families. If you could talk about that a little bit, and that's really all I have.
Yeah, so there are camperships, what we call camperships, and the Sports Center calls playships. So camperships are available for our day camp, our playground program, and Camp Kansabi. We have been funding that typically by donations and remaining funds that we had prior to COVID from our Spluso golf tournament, if anyone remembers that. So we're pretty much going to exhaust those funds this year. It's probably about $10,000. We submitted for that to be funded out of the general fund for next fiscal year, and we were approved. So that will be nice that we can have a guaranteed source of funding for that versus having to work on getting donations and fundraising. We just, again, don't have a lot of capacity for that. And qualifying for that is based on income and the number of people in the household. And we don't take into account other, like usually external factors. We use very simple. We just want to know, do you qualify for free reduced lunch at school? Are you on Medi-Cal, Cover California? Like we just use those as our income guidelines because it just takes not an arbitrary decision of staff like, oh, we think you qualify versus we think it just makes it fair for everyone. And we offset the camp fees pretty significantly. So usually we ask the parent to pay about 30% of whatever fee it is, and the city will supplement the 70%. I will say all of our programs are still very, very affordable, but it can still be a challenge for, families on reduced incomes or families with multiple children. One other thing that we try and do is we have our playground program, and our playground program has always been our most affordable program, even though it is more expensive. When it was $40 for the entire summer, it's still just a little over $400 for 8 weeks, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So if you do the math, that like the hourly rate, like you couldn't hire a babysitter for that. So that's an option that's always affordable, but it can still be a challenge if you have to pay for that up front, or you have to register multiple children for the playground program. So we have the camperships, but we also have the playground program, which works out to like $2 an hour or less per summer. But At this point, no. I'm getting requests, but I haven't yet been able to like determine how many. I do say that probably our biggest request for camperships is for Camp Kinsabi and for day camp. Very little do we have to apply camperships to playgrounds because it's already so affordable. And what people tend to do for the playground program is they register for that for the entire summer, and then they might do Lego camp and another camp. And so they always know that they have childcare to fall back on, but they can also kind of use it as a way to, augment their child's care for the summer. So
I wasn't even aware of that. So
Yeah.
Thank you. For
Yeah, sure.
Is there an extended stay playground program anymore, or was that really an old thing?
That there is extended stay at the sports center. You can register for dropping off early and picking up late, but what we run into trouble is it ends up being a long day for the staff as well, because they have to get there even before the kids get there, and then they have to leave after the kids get there. So we really are offering the program as long as we possibly can for the day, but it does kind of limit us.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, the next regular meeting of the Parks and Recreation Commission is scheduled for Wednesday, May 8th, 2024 at 5:30 p.m. And I now declare the meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Recording stopped.